Jacob Miller lived alone on a quiet farm at the edge of a small town. He spent his days taking care of crops, feeding animals, and fixing old machines. The harvest season was coming soon, and he knew he needed help. So he posted a simple job ad online asking for farm workers. He waited for replies, but nobody answered. Not even one person. Jacob felt worried because the work was too much for him alone. But he did not know that help was coming from a place he never expected. One evening, the sky was dark and silent. Jacob sat on his porch drinking cold water after a long day. Suddenly, the lights on his farm flickered. The animals became restless. The cows mooed loudly as if something scared them. The horses kicked the wooden walls of their stable. The dogs barked non-stop. Jacob stood up quickly, wondering what was happening. He looked at the sky and saw strange lights moving above the fields. These lights were not like planes or drones. They were silent and glowing softly in different colors. They moved slowly, almost like they were searching for something. Jacob felt a cold chill run down his back. He grabbed his flashlight and stepped into the field. The air felt heavy and strange. Like something unseen was watching him. As he walked further, he noticed shapes moving at the edge of the tall corn plants. At first, he thought maybe it was a group of travelers or lost hikers. But when his flashlight beam touched them, he froze. 5 tall figures stood there, wrapped in torn gray cloaks. Their skin had a faint blue glow. Their eyes were large and bright. They looked weak and tired, like they had been running for a long time. One of them raised a hand, shaking a little. "Please," she said in broken English, "we need shelter." Jacob stepped back, shocked by their appearance. They were not human. He had never seen such beings before. But their faces showed fear, pain, and exhaustion. They did not look like monsters. They looked like people who had lost everything. The tallest one spoke again, her voice soft and shaking. "We saw your message," she said, "you ask for workers, we need a place, we can help." Jacob's heart pounded fast. He did not understand how they saw his job ad. He did not understand where they came from. But he could see they were desperate. Their clothes were burned and torn. Their hands were shaking. One of them held her side like she was hurt. Then one of the widows collapsed at Jacob's feet. He saw strange burn marks on her skin. Marks that looked like they came from weapons not made on Earth. Jacob knelt beside her, unsure what to do. The others moved closer, worried about their fallen friend. "We are widows," one of them whispered, "our partners died in war, we escaped, enemy followed us." Jacob felt fear, confusion, and sympathy all at once. He never imagined this could real. 5 alien widows standing on his farm asking for help. The night wind blew softly. The strange lights in the sky faded slowly. Jacob looked at the widows and then back at his farmhouse. He knew what he had to decide. Should he run and call someone? Or should he help these tired, frightened beings who had nowhere else to go? Jacob took a deep breath. "Come with me," he said quietly, "I will give you shelter." But as they began walking toward the barn, a distant rumble echoed across the night sky. Like something heavy and dangerous was coming. The widows looked up in fear. One of them whispered, "They found us." And the real danger had only just begun. The strangers on the farm. Jacob walked slowly toward the barn with the 5 alien widows following behind him. The night was cold, and the strange rumble from the sky still echoed in Jacob's mind. He tried not to show fear, but his hands were shaking a little as he opened the barn door. "Stay here for now," he said softly, "you are safe." The widows stepped inside the barn, looking around with tired eyes. They seemed relieved to finally rest somewhere warm and quiet. One of them touched the wooden wall gently, surprised by its simple structure. Their world must have been very different, Jacob thought to himself. He brought them blankets, water, and some old clothes. They accepted everything politely, bowing their heads. Jacob noticed they were careful with every object, almost afraid of breaking anything. They sat close together like a family that did not want to be separated again. After a moment, the tallest widow spoke. "My name is Lyra," she said, her voice shaky but gentle. She pointed to the others. "These are Syrah, Loom, Hannah, and Vela." Jacob nodded, trying to remember each name. Lyra continued, "We came from a far world, a peaceful place, until war arrived." Jacob sat on a hay bale, listening quietly. He did not want to interrupt. He could see pain in their eyes. Deep, heavy pain. "Our partners fought to save us," Lyra said, holding back tears. "They told us to escape, they died protecting us, we lost everything." The other widows looked down, their hands trembling as they remembered. Jacob felt a tightness in his chest. He had lost people before too, but not like this. Not in a war between the stars. "How did you find my job post?" he finally asked. Loom answered softly, "We hid inside a broken ship, drifting in dark space. Signal scanner found human radio waves. Your message was clear, workers needed. They thought Earth was empty and safe. A small blue world with no enemies. A place to hide." Jacob looked at their faces and realized something. They were scared, truly scared. Every few minutes they glanced at the sky through the barn gaps. Like they expected the enemy to appear at any moment. Outside, the night grew darker. The wind whispered through the fields, but there was no sign of danger. Jacob exhaled slowly, trying to calm himself. He stood up and said, "You can rest here tonight. We can talk in the morning." He started walking toward the barn door. But before he left, Syrah spoke in a nervous voice. "Jacob, you must know something." He turned around. Her glowing blue eyes were filled with fear. "If we found your farm," she said, "others can find it too." Jacob felt a jolt of worry shoot through him. "You mean the ones who attacked your world?" he asked. Syrah nodded slowly. "They hunt us, they do not stop, they want no witness alive." A chill ran down Jacob's spine. He looked back at the quiet fields of his farm. A place he always believed was safe, hidden, peaceful. Now it felt like a target. A small dot on a huge map of danger. Still, he tried to stay strong. "You are safe here for now," he said firmly. "We will figure this out together." The widows looked at him with mixed fear and hope. No one had protected them in a long time. Maybe Jacob was their first sign of kindness since the war began. But as the widows tried to sleep, Jacob heard a strange humming in the distance. Low, soft, but growing closer. He stepped outside into the cold night air. The sky above the farm shimmered faintly. Like something was moving behind the clouds. Something not human. And Jacob realized the real danger might be arriving sooner than he expected. The dark truth revealed. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the fields. Golden light touched the farm, making everything look peaceful and normal. But Jacob knew nothing was normal anymore. He had 5 alien widows sleeping in his barn. And a strange humming sound from the night still echoed in his mind. Jacob walked toward the barn with fresh water and bread. He wondered if aliens even ate bread. But he tried anyway, wanting to show kindness. When he opened the barn door, the widows were already awake. Their eyes looked tired but alert. Like they had slept with fear sitting beside them. Lyra stepped forward. "Thank you, Jacob," she said softly. "You gave us shelter, when no one else would." Jacob nodded, unsure how to respond. He felt it was the right thing to do. But he also knew he needed answers. He sat down on a wooden crate and looked at them seriously. "Last night you said others might come," Jacob said. "You said they hunt you. I need to understand why." The widows exchanged heavy, sad looks. Then Sira stepped forward and began to speak. Her voice was calm but full of old wounds. Our home was called Althea, she said. A peaceful world, full of mountains, clean rivers, bright cities. We lived simple lives with our families. Until the Empire arrived. Jacob felt his stomach drop. Empire? He asked quietly. Loom continued the story. They are a powerful force in the galaxy. They take worlds, destroy cultures, erase anyone who refuses them. They do not ask, they do not warn, they conquer. The widows stood close to each other as the memories came back. Hannah's hands shook slightly. Vela's eyes were filled with tears she didn't want to show. Our partners fought to protect us, Lyra whispered. They stayed behind so we could escape. We were placed on an evacuation ship, but it was attacked. The ship broke apart in space. Only our small escape pod survived. Jacob listened in silence. His heart felt heavy. He could feel the pain in their voices. Pain that went deeper than the stars above them. How did you end up on Earth? He asked gently. Sira pointed toward a small damaged device beside her. Our pod was drifting for days, she said. We had almost no power. Then this scanner picked up human radio waves. It showed us your planet, and your message asking for workers. Jacob looked at the device, amazed. His simple farm job ad had reached beings from another world. It felt unbelievable. Yet here they were. Standing in his barn. Breathing his air. Hiding from enemies he could not even imagine. But then Lyra said something that made Jacob's blood run cold. We did not land here by luck, she said. The Empire followed us. Jacob's eyes widened. You mean, they know you're on Earth? He asked. Not yet, Lyra replied. But they are searching. They track survivors, they do not leave witnesses. Jacob stepped back, trying to take it all in. His quiet farm was now part of a galactic escape. Enemies more powerful than Earth's strongest armies were looking for these widows. If they found them, they would not stop. They would come with ships, weapons, and destruction. Jacob felt fear rise inside him. But he also felt something else. A sense of duty. A sense of human courage he didn't know he had. You're safe here, Jacob said firmly. I don't know how, but I'll protect you. The widows looked at him with surprise. No one had spoken to them like that since their world fell. For the first time in a long time. They felt hope. But before anyone could say more, a loud beep came from the damaged scanner. The widows' faces turned pale. Loom whispered. They are close, too close. The barn fell silent. And Jacob realized that danger was already heading toward his farm. The attack on Earth begins. The warning beep from the alien scanner echoed through the barn. Jacob felt his heartbeat jump as the widows stared at the device with panic in their eyes. Lyra grabbed it quickly and checked the glowing symbols on the screen. Her hands trembled as she whispered, they found this sector. Jacob swallowed hard, not fully understanding the danger but feeling it in the air. He stepped outside and looked at the sky. The morning sun was bright, but something strange moved behind the clouds. A thin red line shimmered for a second, then disappeared like smoke. Jacob felt a heavy pressure on his chest. He knew something was coming. Something not human. The widows rushed out of the barn and joined him. Their eyes scanned the sky like trained soldiers. They looked small and tired, but at the same time sharp and ready. Loom pointed upward, her voice shaking. They are using stealth ships. Tiny scouts, they search for life signs. Jacob felt cold wind brush across his neck. He didn't want a fight. He didn't want danger on his farm. But he couldn't abandon the widows now. Suddenly a high-pitched sound cut through the quiet morning air. A humming noise, followed by a deep vibrating pulse. The birds scattered into the sky. The animals in the barn cried out. Jacob stared upward as a dark shape appeared above the clouds. A small alien craft, fast and sharp like a metal spear. It descended quietly, landing at the far end of the field. The widows gasped in fear. "That is a hunter ship," Hannah whispered. "They send one first, then more." Jacob clenched his fists. He had no weapons, no shield, no training. He was just a farmer standing on his land. But this was his home. He refused to watch it be taken. The alien ship opened with a hiss. Two tall armored figures stepped out. Their armor was black and silver, shining under the sun. Their helmets were sharp and smooth with glowing red eyes. They walked like predators, scanning the area. One of them spoke in a cold, mechanical voice. "Survivors of Althea. Reveal yourselves." The widows shrank back, huddling together behind Jacob. Jacob felt his anger rise. He stepped forward, placing himself between the widows and the soldiers. "They're under my protection," Jacob said in a firm voice. "You're not taking them." The soldiers turned toward him slowly. Their glowing red eyes locked on him. "You are human," one said coldly. "This is not your conflict. Move aside." Jacob stood his ground. "This is my farm," he said. "And they are my guests." For a moment, the soldiers were silent. Then both raised their weapons. Sharp, glowing energy blades hummed to life. Jacob felt fear crash through him. But he didn't move. Suddenly Lyra stepped beside Jacob. Her hands glowed bright blue. She created a small energy shield around them. The enemy's eyes widened in surprise. Then Vela and Hannah activated small devices from their belts. A burst of blue light pushed the soldiers back a few steps. The widows were weaker than before, but still had some strength left to fight. The soldiers recovered quickly and charged forward. But Jacob and the widows moved together. Jacob grabbed a heavy metal farm tool and swung it at one soldier. The widows fired small bursts of energy from their damaged devices. It was a mix of alien tech and farm tools. But it worked enough to slow the enemy down. The soldiers were strong, but they were shocked by the resistance. They expected frightened victims, not fighters. And they never expected a human farmer to stand against them. As the battle pushed across the field, a loud roar came from the sky. Jacob looked upward and felt his breath stop. More ships were entering Earth's atmosphere. Big ones, heavy ones, ready for war. Lyra whispered in horror. They brought a full squadron. And Jacob realized the real battle had only just begun. Humanity Awakens HFY Finale. The sky above Jacob's farm filled with dark shapes. Dozens of alien warships came through the clouds like giant metal shadows. Their engines rumbled like thunder, shaking the ground. The widows stared upward with fear in their glowing eyes. "This is a full attack," Lyra whispered. "They came to erase us." Jacob felt his legs grow weak. For a moment he wondered if this was the end. He was only a farmer. Earth was only a simple human world. How could they stand against such power? But then, something unexpected happened. The attack did not stay hidden. Earth's satellites picked up the alien ships. Alarms activated across the sky. Military bases woke up from silence. Radar screens lit up with warnings. And Earth responded faster than anyone expected. Far away, fighter jets launched into the air. Missile batteries turned toward the sky. Communication lines shouted emergency codes. Humanity had never seen alien ships before. But humans were not weak. Humans never ran from danger. Back on the farm, the widows gathered around Jacob. They had fought many battles. But they had never seen a species react so quickly. "Your people," They are brave, Sarah whispered. Jacob didn't feel brave. But he felt angry. These attackers came to his home. Threatened his land. Hunted innocent widows. And now wanted to harm Earth. He refused to let that happen. The first wave of alien soldiers dropped from the ships. They landed across the fields like falling metal giants. Their blades glowed, their weapons buzzed with energy. They expected humans to hide. To run. To break. But humans did not break. Humans fought back. The first fighter jets roared over Jacob's farm. Missiles launched into the sky. Explosions flashed as some alien ships were hit. The attackers screamed in confusion. They had never faced a species like humans. A species that fought even when outnumbered. Even when afraid. Jacob stood with the widows behind the barn. Lyra created a glowing shield to protect them from stray blasts. Vela and Loom repaired their small devices, using wires from Jacob's tools. Jacob grabbed strong ropes, metal hooks, and anything he could find. It wasn't alien technology. But it was enough. When alien soldiers approached the barn, Jacob pulled a rope attached to a heavy tractor part. It fell from above, crushing one soldier's armor. The widows fired blue energy bursts at others. Together they fought like a single team. Human strength mixed with alien skill. A force the attackers had never seen. The battle spread across the field. Earth's military vehicles rolled in from the road. Soldiers jumped out, shocked by the alien widows but ready to fight. Jets circled above, dropping flares and firing again. The alien empire realized something terrible. Earth was not a simple world. Earth was a world of warriors. More explosions lit the sky. Alien ships started pulling back. Not because they wanted to leave. But because they were afraid. One final message came from the alien commander's ship. A cold metallic voice echoed over the battlefield saying, "Retreat. This planet is dangerous. This species is unpredictable." The alien ships rose into the clouds. One by one they disappeared into the sky. The battle was over. Earth had won. Jacob stood in the field breathing hard. His clothes were dirty, his arms shaking. But he was alive. And so were the widows. Lyra stepped forward and touched Jacob's shoulder gently. "You saved us," she said softly. "Your world saved us. We will never forget this." Jacob looked around at his damaged farm. Broken fences, burned grass, fallen metal. But he smiled. He had protected his home. And helped those who needed him. The widows stood together, watching the sunrise. For the first time since their planet fell. They felt safe. They felt like they had a future. Jacob posted a new message online that evening. A simple one, but full of meaning. Workers wanted. Must be brave. Must be ready for anything. Even from the stars. And somewhere far away in space. Rumors spread quickly. Humans were not a weak species. Humans were the kind of beings you never wanted to make angry. Humanity had awakened. And the galaxy would never forget it.